At 6 p.m., I'll call the November 18th meeting of the Redevelopment Commission to order. David, if you would take the roll, please.
Joe Plankis,
Here.
Larry Kemper,
Here.
Brian Pulaski.
Here.
And John Dart and Brian Tamamichael, for the record, are not attending. John, are you plugged in remotely yet? Doesn't appear to be at this point, but we can move on. Sometimes it takes a little time. Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Do we have any questions or comments in regards to the minutes from our October 21st meeting?
I just need to abstain since I wasn't here from approving.
Okay, we can, that counts as,
We
need 3 voters. You can vote on it.
Can I still vote on it, or, oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Okay. Seeing no questions, open for a motion for approval.
Motion for approval?
Okay, Brian Pawlowski, second. I'll second the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Brian, or David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, minutes have been approved, 3-0. Next item on the agenda is the executive session memorandum from our October meeting. Do we have any questions or comments in regards to that memorandum? Seeing none, I'm open for a motion for approval.
So moved?
Okay, motion by Brian Pawlowski. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Larry Kemper. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item is financial matters, clerk treasurer's report. We have 4 reports for covering September and October from the clerk treasurer's office. Marla, are you online? Oh, you're right here. Welcome.
Marla Ayler, Clerk Treasurer, for the record. I am glad to be here in person because I realized I have a bit of a blunder. I sent the treasurer's report to David kind of at the last minute last month, so I don't think you guys had the opportunity to see it. But the first page is fine, no question on either of the reports. But the second page under interest income, I had neglected to put any of the October interest from the larger RDC investments. I included only Eagletown DSR and didn't catch it until I literally went to print it and was like, oh my goodness. So what I want to tell you, I have not calculated out each one yet, and I want to go back and check September and October just to make sure everything's as it should be. In September, the combined 3 accounts that are invested made $22,630.95. And in October, the 3 combined accounts made $22,000, $22,360, not 630, 360, 62. So I'm going to go back, double check those, and get those worked out for you. Eagletown DSR is in its own account. It has to be held that way. It's restricted. And so that one's a little bit easier to do every month. But I apologize for my error, but I was glad I caught it before I wandered up here. So if you have any other questions.
What are we getting for an interest rate, Marla?
In Goldman Sachs, it does change, obviously, every
Sure.
week. This morning, it was 4.72%.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good.
So,
Nice return.
right, it is very good. So,
Okay.
Anything else?
Any
I can
questions
answer?
for Marla? No.
All right, well, I will get back with you guys next month and have some accurate figures. I apologize.
Yeah, it'd be good to wrap up the year with some final numbers.
Absolutely, we can do that in January. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of claims for November 18th. Any questions on claims? We have a lot of them. Any questions from commission members in regards to claims?
No.
If not, I'm open for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Larry Kemper, second by Brian. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Matt Trinian, our illustrious Grand Park Director. Please step up, sir.
Good evening, Commission members. Again, Matt Trini on behalf of Grand Park this evening, here for contracts for ratification. We sent over 17 agreements, 12 of which were standard use agreements, 5 of which were addendums. Did not receive any questions, but happy to take any today if you have any.
No, I went through those myself for change and take a look at all of them. And as usual, you guys are doing a great job. We're getting some pretty good bucks, so that's good.
Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Matt? No. Okay, if not, open for motion for approval of the Grand Park agreements.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Sorry, you're good, Larry. A motion by Brian, second by Larry. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, motion is, agreements are approved. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, guys.
Executive Director Report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, this is November, not October, so I'll get that fixed and updated for my records. Brief construction update. This photo is still out of date. I did drive by a few times here over the last couple months and check over the progress of construction on Union Square. And their goal had been to get everything all dried in by December of 2024. And they have completed the roof. Everything is all sealed up, and they are working on the brick on the facade. It's looking great. Really love the colors of the bricks that they're implementing on that building elevation. So right on schedule. Maybe even ahead of schedule, and as far as I have been told from the design and construction teams, they're still scheduled for a turnover in that May-June timeframe. One thing that I do want to mention that we have done on this project is engage a group called JS Held, their owners reps. They've been walking through the garage on a regular basis and validating the construction progress and quality. They put together reports that are sent to the developer to make sure that the quality that we expect as a city is being implemented. And then they've also brought in a partner engaged also by the Redevelopment Commission, Weiss Janie Elsner, and they do a review of all the structural and waterproofing items on the project. So particularly because there is a plaza above the parking garage here, wanted to make sure that we do have all of those details being attended to, especially the testing of the waterproofing to ensure that we don't have any leaks prior to everything being covered with the final pavers and pools and all of the other amenities. So they do make sure that all of that is being taken care of, and the developer has been attending to all of those issues as we go along. JS Held also reviews all the pay applications to make sure that all the bills that are being presented by Old Town match up with their progress. Sun King, no specific updates on the schedule on that. I'm hoping to get a schedule update from Old Town here in the next month so that we have a better idea of when they plan to open Sun King facing Grand Junction. And one other update in the construction news is that we do have the temporary parking lot ready for parking. It's been open about a month down at the west end of Park Street. And we do expect to have solar-powered lighting installed here in November so that it's not dark at night. So that has been really the only complaint that we've had, is that it is dark. So that will be resolved shortly.
I do have a question, Janelle, on the electrical extras, I guess, that we have scheduled for the parking garage. Do we have
Yes.
that finalized yet?
It will not be finalized until we're sure how many of the change orders, they have some construction contingency, how much of that would actually be utilized, so we won't have a final settlement on that until later in the project. But we are working with Old Town on the resolution of that issue.
Because I've seen articles about EV terminals, you know, for charging your vehicles.
So the EV charging is partially covered by a grant that has been offered to us, and I did not go through the grant application process, so I don't remember who has provided that grant to us. That was done through the facilities
That
department.
was through that $1.3
Yep.
trillion
Yep.
big bill.
All right, comprehensive plan. I have now started highlighting where we are in this project. They are currently working on baseline assessment of all of our assets around the city, figuring out our local capacity building. This includes building stakeholder groups, both internally with city staff and externally with the community. And they will probably be continuing this phase through mid-January, when we'll also start putting together the vision and values and start working on really the draft plan development in later in the winter and early spring next year. We are again working with Rondell Ernstberger on this project. They're also the same team that will be, well, same company, but different team within the company that will be advising us on the Park Street improvements in downtown.
Has the steering committee, I know the mayor and everyone is working on putting a steering committee together for that, for, you know, public input and so on. Has that been finalized yet?
No, that's part of what they're working on right now, is
Okay.
building those stakeholder groups.
Thank you.
The downtown redevelopment plan, this was awarded to Browning Day, also a local firm in Indianapolis, and they are in the discovery phase. Again, getting an idea of all the assets that we have within downtown, existing buildings, looking at floodplain, you know, engineering assets, I would say even liabilities as we start talking about aging infrastructure that we have in the downtown area to help influence our redevelopment plan. And the intent is for this will be finished in about 6 months. And then our primary focus through economic development, with those first two reports being led by community development, our group has been primarily focused on the redevelopment master plan at Grand Park. This is the same slide that you've seen previous months that shows an overall view of what the southern portion of Grand Park could look like. North is to the right in this image. This is 186th Street right here, Grand Park Boulevard. We've been working with the Spec Dempsey and Perkins and Will design teams over the last few months. We had our second workshop in late October, and these next few slides, you'll start to see where some of this is coming together. So this is a concept of the overall master plan. You can see here at the north end, we have the Grand Park Event Center. Down at the southern end, this is the existing pond that is in the Grand Park Village. And we've seen this same pond that we've talked about multiple times being added to this large parcel west of Grand Park Boulevard. Really, the primary feature of this development is this central spine. It's a linear park that is it's really multimodal transportation. So we would have from the outside in, we have sidewalks and patio space for restaurants and retail. Then we have bike lanes, parking lanes, driving lanes, and then in the center we have a very large linear park, which will have opportunities for, you know, splash pads, playgrounds. We could have nature trails, amphitheaters. There are really quite a few opportunities because of the size of this linear park that's being implemented. Another major feature that we have is these canals. These are located approximately in the same region as the existing detention facilities that are at Grand Park. They've been, I would say, urbanized, so we've created more of a canal walk feel rather than a more suburban detention pond feel, so that we're really having this opportunity for people who are here along the central spine of the redevelopment district to be drawn in towards the fields and vice versa, and then over here on the east side to be drawn into the diamond area of Grand Park. So like I said, we have finished our second workshop. The design team is currently working on updates to the master plan and waiting on comments from the city and other stakeholders on that design. These are, again, some of the wish list items that we had for the district. Some of them could happen in the short term. Some of them are a little bit, longer term items. Some of those long-term items being a multi-purpose stadium that could be added, potentially an ice arena, looking for opportunities for conventions and indoor events at a hotel. Some of the easier things to implement early on as we incrementally build out this plan would be to provide some of the open space, park spaces, implementing multifamily and hotel into the overall concept. So this is just a little bit more zoomed in view of the northern part of this development plan. This is 186th Street here. Again, this is all still at the concept level that we're working through. Grand Park Event Center here at the north. You can see that we have an opportunity for some structured parking near the event center entrance and immediately adjacent to that central spine. And because we're utilizing a lot of the existing parking lot area in Grand Park, we are strategically placing structured parking throughout the district to make sure that we're, I would say, even improving the access to parking throughout Grand Park as we distribute it out a little bit more. These images here are some inspiration images that I pulled from a recent trip that my team took down to Texas. We were specifically studying some sports entertainment districts and some of the public spaces that they have that help bring people together. This image here on the lower portion of the slide is at the Ford Center where the Cowboys play, and you can see there's a football field there immediately adjacent to their arena and an office building. Creates a really nice space for people to be able to gather and celebrate, watch things on a big screen. And then we've got applications here of just a really nice downtown street that already has its Christmas lighting. I couldn't believe how much Christmas decoration. It was just phenomenal down in Texas already in the first week of November. And then the top view is just a food truck, a container. It's like a container park where they've taken shipping containers, new ones, and created restaurant storefronts right here in this food hall. So just inspirations of things that we could accomplish here. This is an overall view of the general layout of what we're anticipating for Grand Park. Again, GPEC to the north. If we were to build a stadium, that would be most likely near 186th Street and Grand Park Boulevard. And if we were to make room for an ice facility, very likely it would occur further south in the development to create more anchors throughout the space and space out also the parking demand that we would have for some of these larger venues. Now, off to the right, we have a section cut through the linear park as it's been proposed by the design team, and some inspiration images on the top of some similar linear park concepts that we saw in Texas. The one on the upper right, to me, was very intriguing. It had multiple levels where they had fire pits that were available and smaller gathering areas where people could rent out those spaces almost as like gazebo-type areas. And then the other thing that I liked was this view on the left where there were some changes in elevation that might work for us closer to the canal where we have multiple levels for storefronts. And that's what I have today.
Okay, thank you very much, Janelle. Very interesting.
And I'm not sure how to get out. There we go.
Okay, is any questions for Janelle from commission members?
Okay. We were in the Dallas area, yeah.
Okay, if there are no questions, we'll move on to, we have no old business, we do have new business, and the first item is the 2025 RDC spending plan approval. Oscar, good evening again.
Thank you, Commissioner. For the record, Oscar Gutierrez, Municipal Advisor to the Redevelopment Commission, Boundary Consulting. The item you have before you is a new item, a new requirement by the Department of Local Government and Finance to put together a spending plan for the following year. There was very little guidance given, and a lot of municipalities are doing a lot of different type of reports. What I can tell you is that my team wanted to put together a report that would have value and could be used for other purposes. So this report will look very similar to your 2025 budget, which will come before you sometime around February because we have to wait for the tax rate to be certified and get the budget order. So February, March timeframe is the timeframe that we're looking at to do that. There'll be some differences between that document and this document because this document is all based on the 2024 assessed value and tax rate. When we have the 2025, or I'm sorry, this is based on the 2025 AV, but 2024 tax rate. Once we have a certified tax rate, we'll adjust it. We're fully expecting it to be the same, but we still have to wait for the state to certify that as we have some levy appeals in place that we have not heard back from. So it's pretty intuitive. It just has our receipts per each area, and then we have the expenses. Since most of the expenses are going to be bond services, you can see that if you pick one of those, for example, let's go to the 2023 lit bonds, that is split between Eagletown, Main Street, and 146th Street. And then you have the total at the end. So it's, again, pretty intuitive. And again, this will be very similar to the budget. And it is not a definite document. So we are required to pass it by December 1st. However, once it's passed, it is a working document. There are things that the commission will go through over the next 12 months. And the Department of Local Government and Finance understands that this is a working document, and if something changes, to change it and re-upload it and update it. But if you approve this today, what will happen is we will get it to Rachel, and then Rachel will get it to the clerk treasurer to upload. We don't currently have access to upload it ourselves. We usually upload it ourselves, and then clerk treasurer submits. But we'll take the extra step to ensure that it gets submitted on time. But happy to entertain any questions regarding this document.
Okay. Any questions?
This is the first year for this one?
Yeah, it's the first year we've had to do this.
Any indication that they're going to keep this in place, or?
You know,
I'm just curious. I know DLGF has,
there's a new
documents.
administration, so we'll see if there's a DLGF after next year. So I don't know.
fair enough. Yep.
But I can tell you that there is no enforcement mechanism for this. We still recommend to all our clients to go ahead and do what the legislature dictated. But
Of course.
but there is no audit enforcement for not doing it. It's just something that was required, and we are just complying by the requirement the best that we can.
I appreciate you doing it. I was just thinking honestly of some of the state grants that municipalities pursue, sometime are based on the budget and other items, and I was just wondering if this would be something that
Yeah,
would be
no,
taken.
it's a good faith estimate at this point. It will be a lot, it will look a lot better in first quarter of next year when we have all of the numbers tying out to the actual budget. And it'll be a lot more useful, but we wanted to keep it into something that you get used to so that you can quickly get to what you need to look at.
Okay, good question, Brian, thank you. Okay, any questions, Larry, for Oscar? If not, I'm open for a motion for approval of our 2025 RDC spending plan.
Motion approved?
Okay, I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brian, second by Larry. David, if you would, please?
Joe Plankis,
Aye?
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is also for Oscar, our overlapping taxing units report.
Yeah, and this is more commonly referred as the annual report. There is an April 15 report, which people also sometimes call the annual report, but we differentiate it as the April 15, and we call this the annual report. But we do send out notification to all overlapping units. They're always welcome to attend. This was sent out via email to all the overlapping units if they would like to attend and hear this in person, receive a copy, that they were welcome to come and
Right.
listen to this. Each of the commissioners should have gotten a paper copy to kind of have as a reference. I find this to be the most usable of all the DLGF reports they force the commissions to do. So I felt that this is one that was probably worth putting it into something referenceable. The best way to look at this document is you'll see the table of contents, and that is sort of your guide, but I'll go through these the best I can. So the first page, on page 1, it is a report that you have seen something similar to this in the past, where you have each of the allocation areas. There current cash balance, their estimated revenues for 2024, and the most useful part is when they were established and when they expire. I feel that that is the most valuable piece of information on these, and ultimately what the revenue losses to the RDC will be once those expire, and how to move forward from that. None of the next page is your comparison of estimated tax increment by debt service. This specific document will look a little bit different than what we have in the annual report because we are required to put what is legally pledged with TIF, and not all debt obligations that the RDC contributes to are TIF pledges. So there are some lit pledges that you're making contributions, those will not be on here, but we are legally required to put coverage by what has been legally pledged, and that's why the coverages are so healthy on these. But it was worth mentioning that we do track both, but for this report, we're required to do it this way.
So if there are bonds that are covered by lit pledges, that doesn't preclude us from
Yeah.
using TIF funds to help pay those bonds off.
And that's probably a conversation for another day that we've been having ongoing for how those are done. But I just wanted to clarify that those coverages may not be as healthy just because it doesn't include some of the lit bonds. But
Right.
we have to report it this way,
This is just TIF related.
just TIF related.
Okay.
And I also have online Alex, who will jump in and correct me if I say something inaccurate, as per always. On the next page, you have your historical increment in collections. Again, we find this to be somewhat valuable. You brought up one of the areas and how that had decreased. So this is a good way to look at it year in, year out, how they're trending as far as collections go per area. The next page, and I'm trying to go through these as quickly as possible. I'm happy to come back and entertain any questions, is an illustrative impact to overlapping units. So oftentimes, overlapping units want to know what happens if you do a project and how does that affect us. So this illustrates a hypothetical $10 million TIF. So let's say you were going to create an allocation area for a $10 million project, and how does that affect other units? And this is that calculation of what that $10 million of net assessed value would have on other units. And if you follow through this, and we can walk through it if you like, but what I can tell you is that it's very minimal. So a $10 million AV TIF has very minimal impact on our overlapping units, and this is how we calculate that it is pretty de minimis to them. Obviously, it's not always 10,
million
sometimes
is
it's
low.
less, sometimes it's more, but it's just to illustrate an easy number to walk through.
10 million out of our total assessed valuation is pretty small percentage.
The next,
Sure.
yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to jump in real quick. This illustrates 10 million of pass-through. So this would be if the redevelopment commission chose to pass through $10 million of assessed value, not necessarily a new project. It would be passing through AV, which is something that a determination that's made every year in June.
Right.
Thank you,
Okay,
Alex.
thank you for the clarification.
Between pages 5 and 22 are going to be each specific area with the comparables between 2024 and 2025. Before the meeting, Commissioner, you asked me a question about one specific one, which was Osborne Trails, which is, I believe,
Osborne
page-
Trail South.
South, correct, which is, I believe, page 17.
right.
The decrease between 2024 and 2025 was due to West Fork's appeal that was granted, so the AV is technically the same. The difference is simply the abatement.
Okay,
But
Answers that
you can also look at each one of the areas between pages 5 and 22. The next area are any specific plans per area, and those will be summarized in pages 23 through 29. So each one of those areas will just give you a broad overview of potential plans per area. And then the following pages, which are A1 through A10, are the actual debt service and amortization tables per each debt service that has the obligation of the redevelopment commission. And then I believe the final thing is the final page, which would be B1. And that gives you an explanation of when TIFs expire based on when they were established. So the rules change between 95 to present, so that kind of gives you a quick overview of how each of those are maybe different based on those dates, and you can reference those back to those first pages that gave the explanation, so that will kind of tie those together. And just for reference, if you ever have to explain any of this to any of your constituents, it just asks how the tax increment
great-
mechanics
great
works. So that, you know, that's the one that everybody uses, and you can kind of explain.
That says it all.
So, pretty straightforward report. Just wanted to walk you through, you know, it's not as, it's a lot of pages, but the information is condensed per those
That's good.
bundles. And if you have any questions specific to any of those pages, I'm going to punt it over to Alex, who actually put this together, but,
You've answered the one question I have, so.
all right, so.
Larry, Brian, you have any other questions for Oscar in regards to this?
No, I appreciate the visual aid, though. It is.
The visual aid is
it
great.
very handy.
Yeah, we're talking about finding a way to put a map on the areas that it's actually legible, but it's really hard to get those, so we'll work on that in the future, but we just wanted to get this first one out to you guys, and
That's great, Oscar.
thanks for
Good
letting me
work.
off the hook with no more questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any action needed by us on this, Janelle?
I believe that we need you to approve it, but there is no resolution. It's just a vote to approve.
Okay. Okay, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second? Second. Okay, motion by Brian, second by Larry. All in favor? David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Next, we have a public hearing on the declaratory resolution for South Park EDA. Janelle?
Thank you. I'm going to get the right one open here. This is South Park. All right, this is the fourth stage in a four-part process of approving a new allocation area. We had a declaratory resolution that was passed here at the RDC previously, and then this was also approved at APC and City Council, and now is back here for approval. This is an allocation area that also matches the economic revitalization area that was previously approved by City Council in the South Park Industrial Park area. And the purpose of having both is that it gives us a little bit more flexibility as we are attracting businesses to this area. If there was a new business that wanted to move into an existing building, we might use an abatement that was covered under the economic revitalization area. And then if we had, for example, a new business that was larger or an existing business that wanted to tear down and rebuild and put in a more state-of-the-art facility, we'd have the opportunity to use TIF in this area. So this is just the updated area of South Park, and we would need you to do a public hearing before we would ask for approval of the confirmatory resolution.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll open up the public hearing at 6:33 PM. We have no one, I don't think, that's interested in speaking to that. Mr. Larson, is there anybody that has sent in any emails?
Our department has not received any emails.
No, okay, you have the, okay, with that, seeing that there are no one to provide any input, we'll close the meeting at 6:34 PM. And any questions from counselors for commission members for Janelle? If not, we'll look for a motion for approval.
Motion approved.
Okay.
Second.
Larry was first, so Larry made the motion, second by Brian Pulowski. David, if you would, please.
Joe Plankis.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of declaratory resolution for Aurora EDA. Janelle?
Thank you. This is, again, a confirmatory resolution, fourth step in the process of creating an allocation area in the North Point area. So this is called Aurora, but it is associated with the North Point industrial area, including North Point 2, and also includes Community Health's new campus here along US 31. This is the updated map. I believe we have, existing is in green, additions are in yellow, and happy to answer any questions. Again, this one would require a public hearing before a vote to approve the confirmatory resolution.
Okay, any questions for Janelle before we open up the public hearing? We'll open up the public hearing at 6:35 PM. Anyone that wants to speak? Seeing none, if you received anything via email?
I have not received any
Okay.
questions.
With that, we will close the public hearing at 6:36 PM. Looking for a motion for approval of Resolution 39-2024.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Brian and a second by Larry. All in favor? David?
Joe Plankis.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes 3-0. Thank you very much. We have one more item that does not require a public hearing. It's Resolution 40-2024, Town Run Project Agreement. Janelle?
Thank you. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of a project agreement with Lore Corporation. We have had them here at meetings in the past. Their plans have already been through Planning Commission for approval, and their bond has been approved, and the TIF pledge has been approved. But we neglected to also bring a resolution at the same time for authorization to enter into a project agreement. Could have done it at the same time. There's nothing here that is new information. We've already authorized the TIF split at 50% on this project. And like I said, the developer-backed bonds have already been approved by the Economic Development Commission and City Council. And so this just memorializes the basic terms of that agreement. This is not a final form of an agreement. This is just a resolution authorizing us to enter into
forward.
that. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Janelle. With that, I'll look for a motion for approval of Resolution 40-2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Larry Kemper, second by Brian Pulowski. David?
Joe Plankis.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
Okay, resolution passes 3-0. Thank you very much. Do we have any other business?
I have no further business for the meeting today.
Okay, just as a reminder for everyone, our next regular meeting will be Monday, December 16th at 6 PM for the final meeting of 2024. It's been an interesting year. Any other items that commission members wish to bring up? If not, I'm open for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Brian, second by Larry. We can vote aye, voice vote, aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:38 PM. Thank you all,
Thank you.
and thank you for all your good work, EDC department. I thought you might